Today I'm going to talk a little bit about what a tuba and a dishwasher taught me about creative thinking and how to unlock creative thinking. It's a lesson that I learned from the president of my college when I went to USC. We'll talk a little bit about him, and it's something that I use a lot when I get stuck, and it's something that you can use too when you get stuck as well, which I know I am more than usual these days, as things are very unusual and changing all the time, and maybe you are too. So, hello, I am Owen. Thank you so much for joining again today. We are live. As always, please feel free to ask your questions, and I'll be happy to answer them here. While you're here, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to this video. Hit the little button below to subscribe. And then on Facebook, please join our group. Join your fellow abundance hackers in our Facebook group. Just search Abundance Hackers on Facebook, but I'm also putting a link in the chat for you right now. Go ahead and click that and join out. So we're talking today about creativity. This goes from huge things all the way down to little things, and I'm going to give you a small example of how I got stuck and how what we're talking about with creative thinking helped me get out of it. So one of the things that I like to do during the day to keep myself active, to keep myself moving, to keep my juices flowing, but also especially now that we're all stuck at home, is I like to go take walks around in my neighborhood. There's not a lot of people around. I can do that. And I have these paths that I have outlined, that in the morning I do this particular path, in the afternoon I do one path, and then in the evening I do another one. And I have just made this routine because it's easy for me, it's one thing less for me to remember. I know in the morning I'm going here, in the afternoon I'm going here, and in the evening I'm going here. So it makes it easy for me to work these walks into my daily routine without having to think about them a lot. There's one of these paths in the afternoon that I take that there's some construction happening on the route now, and as social distancing became a thing in the last few months, like now there are more people on this path because I can't go out to gyms, and now I have to spend more time sort of walking around, people taking extra turns that I didn't used to have to do on this walk. And I've noticed that I start getting stressed a little bit before I take this walk, more than I used to, because I'm starting to now predict that these issues are going to come up, that these blockages are going to be there along this walk, when normally I like to zone out and just be with myself for a bit. But what I found is that I keep taking the same route. Instead of saying, okay, well, I know that this path is going to have a problem, I find that I'm still going on it. It's so ingrained in my routine that even though it's a pain now to walk this particular route, I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it because it's in the routine. It's just the way that things are. It's what I have done for a long time, and it's what I'm ingrained to keep doing over and over. So here I have a process that I created myself, a system I created myself in my routine that is bugging me now. And instead of doing anything about it, I'm just sort of moving into the stress, moving into the pain, moving into the pieces of it that bother me. Why do I keep doing that? Why do I keep doing that? Why do any of us keep doing these things, right? This is what it is to be in a rut. This is to be in a repetitive cycle that I don't like and I want to be out of, but yet I'm still in it. That's being stuck in a rut, right? If you're stuck in a repetitive system or cycle and you don't like it, it's bugging you, you want to be out of it, right? But you're there. That's what being stuck in a rut is. That's what being stuck in a rut is. And being stuck in a rut, to me, that means that, a rut, it's something you can't get out of. It's something I can't get out of, or feel like I can't get out of. If I'm stuck in a rut, it means I'm in a place that I don't want to be, and I feel like I can't get out of there. And it's a routine, and it's happening quite a bit. So we talked about Professor Stephen Sabol, Dr. Stephen Sabol, who was the president of USC when I was there. He's unfortunately passed now. But a really brilliant man and a brilliant leader. And I was fortunate to take a class in leadership from him, where he shared with us a lot about what he had done and what he knew of leadership. Before he was the president of USC, He was quite an inventor, an electrical engineer, a mechanical engineer. He invented like the solid state touch panel on your microwave. Like it's something as small as that, right? But it's a big deal. It has completely changed our lives. And he wrote this book that I highly recommend. It's called The Contrarian's Guide to Leadership by Dr. Stephen Sabol. I highly recommend this book. It's a great book, and it's full of some unconventional wisdom. And if we know anything about me at this point, it's that I love unconventional wisdom. And if you're watching, then you probably do as well. So I highly recommend The Contrarian's Guide to Leadership by Dr. Stephen Sabol. But in it, he talks about his process for how was he inventing, how would he come up with new ways for doing things. Like the solid state on your microwave, that touch panel on your microwave, it seems so obvious now, but there was a time when such a piece of technology was unimaginable. Someone had to make this up. Someone had to think of this new way of interacting with a machine before he could even design how the touch panel even works. So he talks about the kind of techniques that he uses to have a lot of free thinking. And at one point he talks about the idea of, he was taking a look at a dishwasher, right? How could there be a new design for a dishwasher, a new upgrade for a dishwasher? And he talks about how he thinks of just the most preposterous ideas to come up with new concepts. So in this case, he was thinking about what would it be like if I were controlling a dishwasher with a tuba? I mean, it's ridiculous, right? To think about trying to control a dishwasher with a tuba. One's a musical instrument, one is a dishwasher, right? How would they ever connect with each other? But that's the kind of out-of-the-box thinking that helped him to get to the point to understand that we could communicate with a microwave with a solid-state touch panel on the side. So to get out of a rut, right, when we think we're in a rut, when I think I'm in a rut, it means that, again, I'm in a spot I don't want to be in, and I believe that I can't leave it. So to find a way out of it, I obviously have to imagine things that I haven't imagined previously. I have to get out of the box enough to find my way out of this rut, to find the solution that will get me out of this situation. In the case of, my walking path, right, I need to be able to take a step back and say, okay, I don't have to walk at all. I don't even have to walk in any of these places. I can do anything, but it requires taking that step back, looking at everything around in my life and understanding that I can look at it in a different way in order to find that different way forward, that different path forward. So in this case, for you, for any of us, it is the same thing as taking that step back at any moment and thinking, how am I going to run this dishwasher with a tuba? Right? How am I going to take my daily walks with an airplane? Okay, it sounds ridiculous, but I might think about in an airplane, right? I can see the whole neighborhood. Okay, what other options might I see for walking? All of this is not, specific to, what you're going to do here, but this is what we're talking about, is your tuba and dishwasher moment. If you're stuck in a rut, how are you going to get that open-minded thinking to be able to see the paths that are available to you right this very moment, but you're just not able to see them right now? You're just not choosing to see them right now, consciously or subconsciously. So here are some things that you can do to get to your tuba and dishwasher moment when you're feeling stuck in a rut. So first of all, the very first thing is give yourself permission to take a step back. It sounds really easy, but it's actually the hardest part of this whole process. To take a look at something that is bothering you and desire to change it requires making a decision in the very first place. And making a decision to change something like this usually means admitting to yourself that either something you set up or something you're doing isn't what you want to be doing, or it isn't serving you right now. So there can be a lot of self-forgiveness issues around that. But first and foremost, give yourself permission to step back. If you're in a rut, you don't like where you are, give yourself the permission to step back and take an objective look at the situation so that you can find your way forward out of it. And the next thing is picture what your desired outcome is, right? This is an ends versus the means kind of thing. Being stuck in a rut is doing something that is not fulfilling to you, is not moving you forward, or that you don't believe is moving you forward. So it also means that have you asked yourself, what are you doing this for? What are you in this rut for? What is your purpose? And if your purpose is just to fulfill the needs of somebody else, or you're doing this for the sake of somebody else, then it's probably time to figure out a different route anyway, right? So, but what is the outcome that you want? What is the outcome that you want? Is it that you want to have a more fulfilling day? Do you want to make more money? Do you want to have more connections with other people? Is what you're doing that has you stuck in a rut fulfilling this purpose? And if it's not, then again, you have permission to step back and make a change. And then last but not least, just make a new plan. Make a new plan. If you're in a rut and your plan is not working, when I'm in a rut, my plan is not working. If we are uncomfortable, if we are upset, if we're just generally uneasy, like, we don't have to be that way. Like, yeah, life is tough and stuff happens and what have you, but we don't need to be upset and stuck in a rut on a general basis every single day. That is an invented, chosen place that we all put ourselves if we are there. If you are there, you've chosen it. When I am there, I have chosen it on some level. So make a new plan. Make a new plan. And above all, when you are making this new plan, when you are making these decisions, and when you're taking a look at what's going on in your life, forgive yourself. Making a change in your life, changing a plan in your life, a behavior, a habit, or something like that is going to kick up at some point. When you realize that you want to change it, perhaps a little bit of shame that you were doing it in the first place. This is okay. This is okay. This is like what making a mistake is about. This is what changing your mind is about. Forgive yourself for what you did in the past so that you can let it go. I find when I don't forgive myself for what I've done in the past, then I have a really hard time of letting things go, because what I'm doing is trying to make them work so that I can release myself of the pain of it not having worked in the first place. So self-forgiveness is going to save you so much time, save so much headache, save me a lot of time and headache once I discovered it, and I wish I had found it faster. So give yourself the permission to step back if you're stuck in a rut, right? Picture the outcome that you really want and make a new plan. Forgive yourself for any of these things that you haven't done appropriately, or that you haven't done that you feel like you should have in the past. So if you need help with moving forward, you want some extra guidance and an extra boost to get you on your way, then please go right now to owenjward.com. Tell me where to send your free guide to go from scarcity to abundance. It's called How to Unlock and Unleash Your Superpower. Just tell me where to send it and I'll send it to you right away. So thank you so much, as always, for joining. I hope that you get out of your rut really, really soon. Tell me how you're doing, and I will talk to you tomorrow.